Plaguey! Look at you! You're all blue!
What's the coolest thing about our wonderful planet? Animals. And it's our personal mission to spread the awesome facts about them so you too can appreciate and respect who we share our amazing world with. Big and small, they all matter. So join us on our wild journey with these amazing creatures. We are Wild Ratliffs.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the YouTube. So today I have with me Plague, and Plague is going in the shed. I don't know if you can quite tell, he is a little dull. His eyes is a little blue. He's not completely in blue yet though, so we're going to film with him today. Nothing too extravagant, we don't want to stress him out like you shouldn't do with snakes in shed. But anyways, on to what we're going to talk about today. Today we are actually going to talk about snake body language and understanding it. So, being a herpetologist, now by the way, that is a big surprise that I told you guys was coming, and it is here. I am actually now a certified herpetologist. So this is something I've been working toward for a long time and been wanting to do, and finally I've done it, so I'm very happy about it. Another thing I've been wanting to do, you guys probably know we got a new backdrop back here. But not only is it a backdrop, it is Juno and Seuss's new enclosures. They are some cool PVC enclosures. They got some lights going on. There's lights in the bottom one as well. You can't see it as well. But it's really cool. So two major things that I've been wanting for a while finally happened, and so I'm pretty excited about that. But anyways, being a herpetologist and an animal educator, I get asked a lot by a lot of people for good reason, how do I know whether or not a snake's going to bite me or not? And well, even though that can be a hard question to answer, it can also be an easy question to answer too. It's just hard to give specifics. I mean, no one wants to get bit by a snake. I mean, that's just common things. Snake bites really ain't that bad unless you're talking about venomous ones, and I definitely recommend staying away from those. But getting bit by a snake, and I should know, this is the one that bites me the most actually. You can tell how tiny he is. Getting bit by a snake isn't that bad. It really isn't. A lot of people ask me what to compare it to, and honestly, to me, a cat scratch hurts a lot worse than a snake bite because it will actually sting and such. So cat scratches actually can hurt worse. Now, you're talking about snakes with bigger fangs, like a reticulated python stuff. Yeah, that's probably going to hurt a little bit worse. But your more common snakes here in North America, their teeth really isn't that big. The part that really hurts you the most is when they bite you and you pull away, then you're tearing the skin. So, that's the only thing. So, let's move on to answering the question, how will I know if a snake's going to bite me or not? So first off, I always want to start off with, if you don't want to get bit by a snake, the best thing to do is leave the snake alone. If you leave the snake alone and give it its space and watch from a distance, and don't try to move the snake, touch the snake, poke the snake with something, then the snake's not going to bite you. It's not even going to do anything but probably try to get away from you. So if you for sure don't want to be bit by a snake, then just leave it alone. The snake will then have no reason to bite you, and 100% will not bite you. Now, if you have to move a snake, then this is where these other things will come in handy. I'm not going to go through the steps of how to safely relocate a snake, depending on venomous and non-venomous. I'll save that for another video, or this video would probably be too long. So the hard thing about answering this question is the body language of the snake can depend on species. So like with Juno and Seuss being a ball python, their body language is going to be different than Plague here, who is a Kenyan sand boa, just because he's a fossorial snake and he lives in the ground, and they're just a ground-dwelling snake. So being different species can change the body language quite a lot. But we're just going to go over general things that go through all species. That's a good rule of thumb to go by. Okay, so the first number one sign that a snake is definitely going to bite you, even though there's some that could be tricky and will do this and won't, is they will retract the front part of their body. We'll put a video or a photo so you know what we're talking about here, and kind of make an S shape with the front part of the body, like about this much. Now plague here in Kenyan sand boas and most fossorial species does not do this because they're used to being underground and there's no space to coil up and to strike out. So they'll just sit there and then strike out. So that's why I was kind of talking about how different species can differ. But anyways, most of your snakes, like rat snakes, stuff like that, will coil their body up. Some will even stand up. I know there is what we call a yellow rat snake or eastern rat snake, it will coil its body up and kind of stand up and open its mouth to look more scary. So that's a sure sign because that gets the snake ready to strike out. Now a lot of snakes will strike out and not necessarily bite you. It will scare you though. They'll just strike out and the fast movement will most likely scare you enough to back off and leave the snake alone. So yes, that is one for sure sign that the snake's more likely going to bite you. It feels threatened, so you're more likely to get bit that way. Now, along with that, like I just said, and if we can find a picture of the yellow rat snake doing it, we'll show you, is snakes will open their mouth to look more scary. So there's even venomous snakes that do this, like the black mamba. It gets its name because the inside of its mouth is black and it's a threat display to open its mouth and show you the dark color pigment to warn you, hey, I'm venomous and I'm dangerous, so back off. Other snakes will do this as well. The rat snakes, and then there's plenty more, they'll just open their mouth to tell you back off, you know, and that's enough to normally make somebody back off. You don't want to mess with a snake when the danger part of the snake is open. So that is another sign to show you that a snake is more likely to bite you. Another really common factor, especially here where we live, is the cottonmouth. They will also coil their body up and puff out their sides and make themselves look bigger and open their mouth to show that white cotton mouth. Again, the reason they got their name, and another threat display. Cottonmouths normally will not bite unless getting too close, but that is their threat to tell you if you step closer, you're going to get bit. So when you see that, just give the snake its room. Cottonmouths won't normally bite unless provoked to. Now, the next common thing you'll probably already know from rattlesnakes. They will rattle their tail as a warning. Normally, you always hear this saying, if you hear the rattle, you're in striking position. And mostly that is true, but at the same time, you are in striking position before you hear the rattle. The rattle is just letting you know you're too close for comfort to that snake. You are way too close and you're making the snake a little afraid of you. But rattlesnakes is not the only one that will buzz their tail. Not all snakes besides rattlesnakes have a rattle on their tail, but that doesn't mean they won't buzz it. So certain rat snakes and other non-venomous snakes as well will buzz their tail on dry leaves to mimic the sound of a rattlesnake to hopefully scare predators away and try to trick them into thinking that they are a venomous rattlesnake. This is another threat display that also shows you that the snake is irritated and will most likely bite you. Now, another most common thing that a lot of movies has portrayed and stuff like that is hissing. And hissing is a sign to show that a snake is upset with you or is a little in discomfort or threatened in a way, but a lot of snakes won't hiss. In fact, some snakes, their hiss can't even be heard really by us, so if they do hiss, we won't really hear it. Are you making noise on the bubble wrap? Cats. There isn't a lot of snakes that actually hiss when threatened though. There is only a few that will hiss as a threat display that is loud enough that it will definitely catch your attention. And that is the Gaboon viper. The Gaboon viper is a land-dwelling snake that hides in dry leaves, and it will produce a loud hiss to make sure other bigger animals won't step on it and hurt the snake, because it doesn't want to exactly leave its camouflage because it's trying to find food. So that's one snake that will hiss. It's not here in North America though, so if you're in North America, don't go by the hiss of the snake. Zeus back here hisses at me all the time. It does let me know that I have a possibility of getting bit because he's a little agitated, but really going by the hiss of the snake is not a good way to tell that you're going to be bitten. It just lets you know the snake's not very happy with you. So there's a few reliable ways that will help with wild snakes to let you know if you're going to be bit or not. But a lot of people ask me, how do I know that a captive snake, a snake that's kept as a pet, like Plague here, who's went to sleep, how do we know that they're not going to bite us or not? Like somebody gives you a captive snake and puts in your hands. hopefully the person's giving you is respectable enough to give you a snake that won't bite, but just in case, it's good to know how to read captive snakes as well, so you know whether or not you're going to get bit. So it can go the same way with some wild snakes, but most likely this will help you more in situations when somebody's handing you a pet snake or a snake from a pet shop or whatsoever, because a lot of people who don't want to get bit isn't going to handle snakes in the wild, and snakes in the wild you're more likely to get bit from than captive snakes in general situations. So to show you a little bit more of this, oh, he woke up. Was I moving you too much? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He isn't going to bite me on camera, but he has bit me a lot. So if you bite me though, I'll just put that in a video. I'll show how you do that. But to show you kind of how to read a body language of a captive snake, I'm going to use Juno and Seuss to kind of show you the difference in how to know how to handle a snake you're given. Alright, so as you can see, Seuss is already curious what's going on. He could feel us getting Juno out just a few moments ago since her enclosure is above his. So he's a little bit curious of what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and unlock him. Now with Seuss, most of you don't know Seuss's backstory. I may do a video on it all within itself someday. But Seuss is a different type of personality than Juno. Like any other snake, all snakes have individual personalities that differ from one another. Now, because Seuss was mistreated and abused and neglected, he is not as comfortable with humans and relaxed and laid back as Juno is. So I could not use a snake hook, but I'm just going to show you how to use a snake hook with a more timid snake, because Seuss has tried to bite me several times. It's not an uncommon thing with Seuss when getting him out. Doesn't mean he's a bad snake or a mean snake. He's a scared snake, that's all. So even though Seuss is used to us getting him out, you know, he likes to be safe in his enclosure, and once we get him out, he's perfectly fine. You just got to move slow. But in his enclosure, this is his safe spot. So we're going to treat it with respect. We're just going to boop his nose gently in. Boop. Going to get around you, buddy. I'm just going to lift up the hide. Now that is a defensive S. And once I can get the hide, I will go to show you. His tongue flicks is very fast and rapid, which is another sign of irritation and a bigger chance that you may bite. So I have him hook trained, so all I do is a little bit of rubbing him with the hook so he knows what's going on. He ain't going to strike at it today. Sometimes he does. And then I'm just going to very gently scoop under him and grab one of his coils and begin to bring him out. Now, whatever you do, you want to treat every snake with respect when getting them out, because not only could the snake get hurt if you make a mistake, you can get hurt, or both, and you definitely do not want that. Now, I'm not too worried about a bite from Seuss here. He is a very big boy, but his teeth wouldn't hurt more than a cat scratch. But I prefer not to get bit anyways. I don't want my hands covered in scars constantly. But this is Seuss, and you can kind of tell he is a little bit more timid and a different way of getting him out as well compared to Juno. Okay guys, so here we have Seuss. Big change, huh? Compared to little Plaguey. So this is Seuss. He's getting quite big. Now, as you guys have been told, see the kind of coil of the S and see how he moves away. The reason I'm using Juno and Seuss is because they're polar opposites in their personality and how they react to human interaction. So this is why I'm using them, to kind of go show you how you should hold snakes based on their personality and experience with human interaction. So with Seuss here, he's a little bit more on the defensive side. I don't know if you can see it, but every now and again he'll have slow tongue flicks, which is good. It means he's relaxed, but he's a little bit unsure of what's going on. Seuss can get a little touchy. You can see how he pulls away. So if you're given a snake you don't know, like I know Seuss, so I know my limits with Seuss so I don't get bit. But if you don't know a snake and you're handed a snake that's a little bit more timid like Seuss, if you touch up through here and he pulls away, that's a sign of he don't like that, and if you push your luck, you're probably going to get bit. So what you want to stay is on the thicker part of the snake where he doesn't retract from. And you just want to respect where the head is. So you can see where Seuss's head is. If I make fast movements around his head, see how he jerked away? Now, if I get bit, I'm asking for it in this video. Don't blame Seuss if he bites me, guys. I'm trying to demonstrate, though, what you should and shouldn't do so you guys don't get bit. But you can see how he doesn't like my hand moving in front of his face. Now, difference with Juno, and you'll see that later. So, what you want to do with a snake that's more timid is stay away from the head and pet in the back. Now, don't be afraid of the head. Another thing is, if you're scared of the snake and the snake's scared of you, you guys are going to feed off of each other's fear. And that's just going to escalate till somebody's going to get hurt, whether you, the snake, or both of you. Because just as easily as they could bite us, we could hurt them as well. Just by dropping the snake, squeezing the snake too hard, tossing the snake out of fear. This is things that could really hurt the snake. And snakes are very scared of us because we are, in their minds, their natural predators. So, even though Seuss is a captive bred snake and has been in captivity all of his life, he still has that natural fear of humans. He also has been mistreated by humans, so that's also why he's kind of timid. So, again, timid snake with Seuss. Stay away from the head. If you touch a part of the body and he pulls away or retracts, leave that alone and move further back. Hold the snake in a comfortable manner where the snake doesn't feel like he's falling. Just loosely and calmly hold the snake. Let the snake move where he wants to move. And just respect the snake. That's really the main thing. As you can tell, Seuss is not biting me. He's not trying to bite me. He could easily bite me. He's not, though. He has no want to bite me. He's just letting me know he's not okay with some of the stuff I'm doing. So, and you gotta take into consideration, snakes can't speak. They can't speak like us to say, hey, I don't like that. So this is their only way of saying that. And sometimes biting is also trying to communicate with you of, listen, I don't like that and you need to stop. So don't blame the snake, guys, if you get bit. Almost 100% of the time it's humans' fault for getting bit because these guys do not want to bite you unless they feel they need to. And really, there's no situation they need to. So we're going to move on to Juno to kind of show you the difference between her and Seuss, to show you what you can do to kind of handle a more relaxed and calm snake and a more active one, because Seuss ain't really that active. But I love my Seussy. He's my good boy. I love my Seussy. So first off, I am just going to point out how cute, if you can get a shot of her starting to inch her way out of that hide right there. Little Juno peeking out. She's like, oh, am I getting fed? I'm sorry, Juno. This is not what this is. I'm sorry, bust your bubble, baby. So Juno, as most of you already know who watches the channel, she is a very laid-back and mellow snake. Hi, Judy. Even in food mode, I don't use a hook or anything or be real cautious around her. There is no scent of rats in the air as well. So she is not going to bite me at all. See? So I just reach in and take it up. Now some people would call this an S. I'm not sure if you can see it, so I'm going to move Ricky over here real quick. Some people would consider that an S, but really that is not a recoil out to strike. That is simply a recoil just to rest her head back. She's a little confused on what's going on. Alright, so where she is a mellow snake, I'm not really worried about her. You can tell by her body language. She is pretty laid back. Sorry, baby, I didn't mean to hit you in the head. As you can tell, she's a very laid back, she just wants to go back home. She's a very laid back snake. So I am not worried about her at all. And she is just so calm. You can tell that by her body language. Like, look at this. Very mellow snake. Never ever am I worried once about getting bit by her. Oh, she gets so chunky. Okay guys, now we have Juno. And as you know, she is in shed, so I'm going to make this a little quick. Don't want to stress her out. Don't know if you guys can tell. You can see how blue her eyes is. She can't see very well, but I trust Juno. She's not going to bite me even in shed. Now this is when snakes would most likely bite you though. When they are in shed, snakes will bite you because they cannot see. They're in discomfort. They're just not in a happy mood, okay? So snake in shed, definitely going to get bit. Juno, on the other hand, different story. So Juno is literally the most docile and laid-back snake. As you can tell, she is just like, hi, how are you? Crawling around. She's super relaxed. So she is definitely a different type of snake. But that's why I've got her out to compare her to Seuss. As you can tell, she is more relaxed. You can tell that because the snake is moving around. She's exploring. Even in blue, she is very curious about me. She wants to explore me, sniff me, all kinds of things with her little tongue. So, different type of snake. Totally different personality. So, with a snake like Juno, if they hand you over the snake and the snake is not coiled up, not moving a lot like this, the snake is more relaxed with you. So you can be more relaxed with the snake. So again, if you're not sure, it's best to just respect the head of the snake and just kind of avoid that. Snakes normally don't like you petting their head, holding their head, or moving around their head real fast. But if you happen to move around their head real fast with Juno, as you can tell, she don't care. I could literally do this all day. Juno don't care. Juno is total opposite of Seuss, guys. She is very laid back, really good with human interaction. I've worked with her with kids for a long time and other people. Anytime somebody comes over to my house, I'm like, free training for Juno, and I just hand them over Juno and be like, here, you train my snake, let her get used to you. So she is good with all types of handling. So a snake like this, you can be more relaxed with a snake. You can pet it, you can move it around more. Again, just respect the snake. Don't try to hurt the snake. And if you're not comfortable with it, then just hold still and let the snake move on its own. Best thing to do, leave your hands open. Don't hold the snake. Now Juno, she don't mind. She's used to kids and stuff like that. But just open palm-handed and just let them move around and do what they want to do. So again, kind of the same. You can pet wherever you want. Juno don't care. I could pet her head. See, she does not care. Juno's a totally different snake, let me tell you. Her and Seuss, polar opposites. So I hope that has helped you guys to know kind of how to handle snakes. And again, snakes are just like other animals and people. They all have their own personality in a way and own ways of reacting to things. So play it by ear. See what the snake does with you. Like, if you're handed the snake, see how the snake reacts to you, and then you'll know how to react to it. So I hope this video helped you guys, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye guys. Stay wild. There isn't a lot of snakes that meow. I was talking about cats. There isn't a lot of snakes that meow, guys. There really isn't. Okay, that's a blooper to put at the end.